Let's see here. All right. Trying to get uniforms and numbers and all that stuff ironed out on this trip.
Already got all those.
Okay. How about pant sizes and?
Well, so I don't know. So you get doing pants too?
Yeah, we're doing all that. What I want to do is I'm trying to get I'm trying to complete like pants sizes. Like waist length.
Just get their waist size.
I don't know, Joe. When you order pants, it's just waist sizes, right?
No, it's waist length. When I order them,
it's waist and length.
Yeah,
waist and length. Yeah, not what they want to be, what they are currently, and then they can take it in or whatever.
I think it depends on what company you order from. I order the last few pairs from Berserk, and it's waist length.
Yeah, I agree because hey, look at that, Stu's already on, and he's saying waist and length. Thank you, Stu. I appreciate that. We are. It's waist and length, and it depends on which one we go with. Like, I have found that Elite, like in your experience, Joe, Elite, for me, it's kind of more true to size. Whereas if you go with some other companies, they're like really big compared. And I like to get a sample. I normally like to get a sample kind of pack, like even if it's just one size, like a large, yeah, something like that with shirts or whatever, and at least one, like maybe my pants, and then let everybody try it and just see like, hey man, I'm surprised with this, a little big, little small, whatever.
The pants are usually true. It's the jerseys that are a little. I think Elite the jerseys are a little bit bigger. Berserk, I believe they're more true to size. Then there's a couple that I've gotten in the past. I think one was GA Apparel, and those are actually smaller than normal. Yeah, but it just depends on the company, man. Honestly.
Yeah. Stu was saying he knows a good jersey guy if you're looking for new unis. I do what I try to do, Stu, is I try to help out, and spread the wealth in the those that help to support our tournaments in the police softball circuit, or of course those that have helped our tournament out or something like that. I try to do what I can to give back, and but I definitely try to spread that wealth, a little when it comes to that. But shoot me the info, please, Stu. I'd appreciate it. Let's see here. All right, so they're getting that. Let me make sure I got this right. So, Indiana, we've got, I don't know why Indiana. Oh, there it is. There we go. That's what I wanted. Let's see here.
What hotel are you guys at?
We are at the Hampton Inn. And we are in Fort Worth, Burleson is what it is. So, yeah, we're a little bit away from the park, but that's all right.
All you Hall of Famers hanging out in the lobby there?
Got a couple of guys here that know how to play a little softball. Thomas Eldridge, what's going on, brother? So they use Riot Sports. They make all our uniforms, and they do a great job. Riot Sports. I don't know who Riot is for some reason. I don't know. Where's Riot Sports out of? Thomas? Riot. RIOT. Riot Sports. Yeah. So anyway. Let's see here. All right. Well, Joe, holy smokes, we are going to probably start the closest we ever have to on time. And we are going to, I think we're going to end on time today. So that's going to be pretty good. Oh, I know you were asking about, look at this, John Rocky Riojas. It's the only SWAT officer ever killed in the line of duty. Rocky, that's his badge number. And he is a keeper of the peace. So it's pretty cool to be able to have this shirt made. And that's our SWAT competition logo. That's pretty cool to have that thing on there. I think that's it on that side. And then, that's pretty cool. I'm going to give you the lat shot, Joe.
Well, I'll say, Trini, that's a pretty badass looking shirt, and something tells me you're showing this off because of how it accentuates your muscular physique.
Well, you know what bites is that my wife gets upset with me because she's like, "How come you don't wear tighter shirts?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't know. I don't like tight shirts, but every once in a while I'll wear them for her." And so I wore it today, and guess what? She goes and gets a massage. She goes and gets a massage. I'm not gonna even see her for probably another hour and a half.
That's the way it works, man.
So now I'm just turning on Jay and Alex and Chad here in the lobby. So that's all right. It'll work out. All right, let's see here. Thomas says that they are out of Florida and they moved from Connecticut. Huh. That's cool. Right sports. All right. Linda, let's see. Linda Garcia. Hola, Linda. Thanks for joining us. All right, man. Well, hey, let's get this show on the road. I know it's a what's today? Wednesday?
Hey,
Wednesday.
Trini,
yes,
to cut you off here, man. You know, when you got the screen the way you do with you having the bigger one.
Shit.
No, keep it like that. Our heads are the same size now.
I was going to make a joke about that earlier. Not your head, by the way. But I was going to make a joke about this particular angle, and then I got lost in the moment. So this is how I meant it to be. And I thought, God, Joe, how would you like it if this was switched and you were there?
It's like the commentators when they try to get everyone's head on the same level and they move their chairs up and down on the set. You know, it's pretty similar there. I like it.
What's going on, Eddie? How you doing, brother? Nice here. That's a great guy right there, man. Very nice. One of those dudes, as soon as you talk to him about 10 seconds, you can already read who he is as a person, man. That's cool. What's going on, brother? All right, Joe, let's get this show on the road. Deanna, let's hit it. Partner in crime, Joe, joining me again. We got another special guest. Don't forget, man, I got your 6. What animal is your spirit animal?
A dog.
What kind of dog?
A police dog.
Nice.
Yeah.
Like that one. I like that. That was a good answer. That right there was Michael J. Faul, as in foul ball. And he is our player in our player spotlight tonight from the South Florida Lawmen. So I'm excited about that interview. Hey, thank you guys for joining us. Today is Wednesday, the 6th of, what is it, Joe?
I think it's April.
April? All right, cool. 6th of April. Hey, thank you guys for joining us. Myself, I'm Trinidad. I don't know what's up with this, Joe. For some reason, oh, there we go. Okay. I am coming to you from Fort Worth, Burleson. And this is over here near Dallas. We're here for a first responder tournament. And so anyway, got my partner, Joe, Mr. Joe Monahan, helping me out today. I'm excited to be able to have another podcast and have another day of some good therapy when it comes to, what we do with this podcast, the Police Softball Podcast. So thank you guys for joining us. If you don't know who I am, I'm Trinidad. I am Audrey's husband. I am a United States Air Force veteran, 23-year law enforcement veteran. I am a 2-time cancer survivor. I throw that in there because if anyone has ever going through something like that, whether it be a diagnosis, a treatment, or maybe just having a difficult time with something like that, I can understand where you're coming from, and I'm here for you. So reach out to me if it could be a resource, could be just an ear. Two-time cancer survivor. I'm a franchise business owner of a company called Biotex. It's a crime and trauma scene cleaning company. We're stationed out of San Antonio, Texas, and we have branches in Austin, Houston, Dallas, Fort Worth, and Austin, Houston, Dallas, Fort Worth, San Antonio. And I'm also a nonprofit founder of an organization called Shields for Kids. Shields for Kids is an organization of officers who go out and provide for kids in the community that are in need. We do a wonderful job. We highlighted it on the last show, and it's a great organization. It's what you guys support when you come to the Keepers of the Peace National Softball Championship. So, you'll find out more about that. Now, as far as my partner, Mr. Joe Monahan, we got his. He is a coach of the Missouri Lawmen. He is my friend. He is the director of the St. Louis Show Me Classic. He was the coach of the Louisville Sluggers Masters Division, but this year they took a little hiatus from it. But I think we are going to play, Joe, right? I think there is a possibly play when it comes to a Masters tournament, maybe in New York if they decide to put that on at the New York tournament.
I don't think Jimmy's doing one in New York. His plan is to piggyback on the Tampa tournament next February and do it in Tampa prior to the Tampa tournament. So there's going to be a Masters event tentatively planned, I think, prior to the Tampa tournament, the couple days leading up to it in February of 2023.
Okay, cool. So looking forward to that. I know there are a lot of Masters out there that are wanting to play, so look forward to if that takes place. He is the East Conference Manager of the Year, and he is the Texas Showdown Home Run Derby champion. Dang it, Joe, what did we leave out?
I have
we left
no
something
idea,
out, man. We left something out. I don't remember what you told me. You won a trophy in middle school. There was something you wanted listed on here, and I can't remember what it is. But Deanna, we need to get that back. We need to get that thing added on here. Hey, Trip, my son, what's going
Trip in the
on?
house.
Thank you.
He's been MIA the last couple. Where's he been?
Yeah, well, he's been involved, man. He's over in college. He's always involved in a lot of different things. Trust me, this is the first time I've heard. You probably heard from him before I did last. So, but Trip says he missed
the timber voice of Joe Monahan.
There you go. All right, let's see here.
Trip just ain't got the time for Uncle Joe anymore. You know what I mean?
Well, he did when we went to that restaurant and shared a special moment with you, which we might highlight one day. But hey, all right, so we got a great show ahead. We're going to do that player spotlight. Let's just jump right into it, man. So, Joe, cool thing was if y'all have not been to Oklahoma, there is a casino that I visited. That's where we did the player spotlight with Michael J. Faul. And that was from a Choctaw casino there in Oklahoma. It's a real cool casino. It was a great time. Joe, you and I like to visit casinos. It's a lot of fun. And so that's a great casino to visit. That's where I was at this week. And then again, we're here in Mansfield near Dallas, just south of Dallas, really close to Waxahachie, where we put our Keepers of the Peace National Softball Championships on. So that's where I'm coming from. Joe, I know you were sharing something with me about some flights.
Yeah, there's obviously a big tournament going on this coming up weekend here in a couple of days. We actually leave tomorrow, going to West Palm Beach for Brandon West tournament, and we're actually going to be talking to him. We got a little interview with him that we're going to air here shortly. But my parents were in the Keys last week. They were supposed to fly home on Saturday. They had a layover in Miami. Well, then their layover lasted for 2.5 days in Miami. So they're supposed to come home Saturday night. They didn't get home until Tuesday night. So it's I guess there was some kind of mechanical, or not mechanical, but some kind of computer issue to go along with some weather and lack of employees, I guess. And just everything combined, they they canceled a ton of flights this past weekend, and I know some of the guys that play conference U-Trip ball flying in. They got the duel this week, and a lot of the flights have been getting canceled for them today still. So hopefully our flights aren't affected, and we get in there on time tomorrow and everything's fine. But I just it's just sucks seeing that, leading up to a big weekend of ball. So,
dude, I'm telling you, in Vegas, we had some guys that had to stay there like 2 days later. And the thing that bites about that is it's not like you can just go out and visit and everything. You're waiting on the next flight. So that's what really bites about being laid over like that, So yeah, man, we're about to book our flights for Vegas, anticipating some issues. So we're trying to get it out there, sometime soon. Let's see here. We've got okay. So what we're gonna go to, Joe, is let's get on with some updates on the Keepers of the Peace National Softball Championship. If you guys don't know, this thing takes place September the 9th, I think it is. The 8th may be the Players Party, Deanna, and then there you go. September the 8th is the Players Party. The 9th and the 10th is when we're gonna play. It's in Waxahachie. If you have not heard, all the fields now that we're going to be playing on are all turfed. So last year there were 3 fields that were turfed. Now they're all turfed. So that's going to be cool. Joe bit the bullet with his team and placed himself on the team on the fields that had dirt and grass. And so that was really cool of you, Joe, to make that happen, man. But this year we won't have to worry about that. It's all going to be turfed out. And one of the things I want to update you guys on is a team list. I think that's pretty cool, Joe, because last time I think we had like 5 teams signed up. But after we put out the last podcast, and Joe, I want to mention this. The cool thing about this podcast is it really does have a great reach, because I went from 5 teams this last show to 15 teams now. And so I'm really excited about that, man. We got the Connecticut Lawmen, Minnesota Lawmen. Really happy they're coming back. Bobby Lambert's last year, man. So that's going to be a treat, man. You got to definitely go check out that team. It's always a great time to watch. But, with Bobby's last year and not knowing until we talked to him on the show, how much history he has within the circuit. I mean, I was already impressed, but then blown away even more. And that's the same thing with Thomas Eldridge with Connecticut, man. Tons of time in the circuit. And I had no idea about these teams until this podcast. So I'm really happy that we're able to make this thing happen. Of course, we got SA Law, we got Angel Armor, and Deanna, we're going to have to, it says Gel Armor, but we definitely want to change that to Angel Armor. I want to make sure their team hasn't changed names. We got the Bay Area combo with Stu Donaldson, the Missouri Lawmen, of course, Houston Hustle, Houston Heat, got Team Louisiana. I'm happy to have them coming up. We got Houston Heat. I already mentioned them. We got Nitro Hitman, so that was awesome to be able to get that notification. Texas Fugitives, Detroit PSC. I'm happy to have those guys were party animals. I like them, man. They were cool. United KC, Utah Metro was a cool one to have on, and then Miami 5-0. Got Miami 5-0 to join in. So, man, I'm really happy, Joe. That as a tournament director, it makes you feel really good to be able to have these teams call, and it just makes you feel good, especially this far ahead of the tournament. It just makes you feel so much better.
Yeah, that's a solid list there, man.
I'm happy, man. SinCal's on the fence. They got some other commitments, but they're going to see if they can swing it. And Great Lakes with Jay-Z, he's like, Jay-Z's like I am. He puts it off until he knows for sure, but he's like, man, I'm like 99% sure. I just like to make sure because I won't back out when I commit. So I expect Great Lakes, to be there. They're always in the top running. So I'm excited about that, man. And again, I want to make it aware that if we get 18 teams, we're going to have 2 divisions. So I'm excited about that. And Joe, thank you for helping me when it comes to figuring out the teams and then being able to split it up in those 2 divisions after the pool play.
Yep.
All right, so let's see. We got, how about your tournament, Joe? So we have let's look at Joe's team list. So we got the St. Louis Show Me Classic. When's that thing taking place, Joe? Because I don't know if we have a thumbnail. I don't think we do, but Joe, we need to we'll work those details out and get you that thumbnail.
That's all
for
good.
The next show.
It's August 6th and 7th. It's Saturday, Sunday. And the team list is the same as we showed last episode, and we got 16 that are committed at this point, with several still on the fence. And you know, it's a solid list, just like the one you just put up for your tournament. And I'm excited to get a lot of these new teams and a lot of returning teams out there. It's going to be a really competitive tournament again, as it's turned into over the last several years.
Yeah, man. It's always great competition, great field, great players party. I love it. And for anyone that's gone there, they know I'm not just stroking Joe or anything. I mean, it's true. You know, it's a great tournament. So
Trini, you save that for when we're not on the air.
Shut up. Shut up. Well, the way you were eating popcorn earlier, it did a little something to me. I don't know. Well, hey, we got Tyler Wilson, my Canadian connection. What's going on, brother? I like that heart, man. That's pretty cool, Tyler. Mr. Terry Dugan, man, legend in the game. I'd love to be able to highlight, him, man. And that's the other thing. We do the player spotlight with some newer guys, but I'd also like to be able to highlight Terry and these dudes that got some time in, you know? What, Joe?
Nothing, man.
He's chasing. That's Terry for you right there, and that's why I want to hang out in Vegas. I'm gonna put something on, man, and for our coaches, managers, tournament directors, I'm gonna put something on. And Terry, I'm asking if you'll please show up, because that'll be a life of the party right there, man. Hey, man. So Joe, on that note, one of the things I wanted to highlight real quickly is what it is that the police softball circuit means to us and why it's so important. And so we all know about mental health. We all know about, the types of struggles we go through. And that's the importance of things like this. It's important for the circuit and how we participate, but it's also this podcast. There's no money being made on this podcast. I actually pay to have this with Deanna's time in to create these things. And Joe, it's all voluntary. I'm voluntary. And, no sponsors, no anything. And it's just really for the purposes of what you're about to see in this video. This is called the Good Cop, Bad Cop.
Phoenix 2514 can transmit on track 2 with your message. 14A25 can. 7X76 Roger. Now 11 David 109996 checks in
Hands up, don't shoot! Hands up, don't shoot!
This past year and a half, 2 years, it's just gone a little haywire off the tracks for law enforcement, It really puts you up against the wall trying to do your job without being scrutinized or having an iPhone in your face or being accused of something you're not even doing.
If you never did our job, it's very easy for someone to write things about what a cop should have and shouldn't have done. And there's a big contingency today of people looking down on cops as if they're always doing wrong.
When you put that blue uniform on, you gotta be professional. If somebody gets in your face and screaming at you, spitting at you, whatever they say, you just gotta sit there and take it, and you gotta go about your professional way. You can't show weakness, and it's the 24/7 sometimes. You don't do it. And then sometimes that bottles you up, and it does become stressful,
40 hours a week or 50 hours a week, we deal with bad stuff. And because we have to have restraint, you internalize it.
Straight pig out here!
It needs to go somewhere. It needs to be released somehow.
And you need an outlet. And our outlet is softball. Softball right now in law enforcement is huge.
We're all alpha dogs, cops, most of us are, and it's very competitive.
As soon as we step on those fields, everyone wants to win these tournaments.
Softball allows guys to lift their restraints in a competitive, positive manner.
This is your ultimate out. No one's gonna judge you here because it's all our community.
They can yell, they can scream, they can cheer.
God damn it.
They can cuss because it's under the umbrella of a competition.
Johnny Sal, let's go!
This is fun now, highly competitive, but it's a chance to get away from the stress that we have. From the moment you put that uniform on, you walk out the door, there's a chance you might not come home.
You got to put this cape on every day when you go to work, And people don't realize, you know, at the end of your shift, it's tough to take that cape off sometimes, you know.
I take my shoes off before I ever walk into my house because of some of the places I've been. I strip down before I even get home. You try to separate what you do in your work life from your home life. And it's tough because I think there's a lot of policemen who end up dealing with so much within themselves and never release it. They shut it off from home, shut it off from their families. They end up having so much going on in their mind that I believe they get to a point where they just can't think straight. Hit a certain time of depression, causing them to take their own life. And it's so sad, but it's easy for me to see because unless you're able to talk about it and release that, a lot of people can't deal with it. And here we are. Look at this environment, man, where you got these dudes that are out here that maybe in their own way, this is the only way they can release that.
Get some of that.
It's the only way that they can hit that ball and feel that stress leave their body. Slide. And as they're sliding, they're getting that out of their system. I mean, it sounds weird, but you don't understand it until you hear it. And so that's the importance of this kind of stuff, man.
Tell you what, dude, that video gets me every time.
That's an awesome video, man.
Yeah, it's so
been around for a while, but it's just you know, that also brings back some memories of a lot of those guys in the video early on with the riots or the protests or whatever you want to call them. Work with a lot of those guys and see a lot of faces I know out there. It brings back some memories of 2014 working that stuff. So,
oh yeah, man, and that's why I play that video, man, and that's why I continue to highlight it, and ultimately ended up getting the videographer to even show up to Vegas to begin with, because I thought it was very important to be able to communicate what it is that we're doing there, and people can misconstrue police softball with maybe like a league type softball type thing, and it's so much more than that. You know, for the sport itself, I get it, but for us, it's totally different. So impactful, and I'm just really happy that video was made. I think it completely encompasses what it is that we are, why this is so important, and also why we do this podcast. So on that note, there is also one of the umps you saw in there was Dan Potter, and you know, Dan is a great supporter of us in law enforcement, might as well be in law enforcement, you know, as far as we're concerned in the circuit. And we have a cool video that Dan made for us because he is holding a raffle to be able to provide something special for us at the World Series. And I just think it's really cool that he's willing to go out on a limb and to be able to have this raffle in an effort to, well, I might as well not even tell you. I'll just play the video and let him explain it himself.
What's going on, fellas? Hope everyone's doing well. First, I want to thank Trini for letting me come onto his podcast and promoting this Code 3 raffle I have going on. Some people have asked me what it is. What I'm doing is I'm raffling off about 4 or 5 prizes. It's 100 tickets at $40 a ticket. The money will go to paying the umpires, lodging them out in Vegas. I'm trying something this year. I'm trying to bring in some higher caliber umpires. Trying to put 2 umpires on every field. That's my goal for this World Series. The game at this pace is just getting too fast paced. Not one umpire can keep up with everything. You guys are just getting too big and too strong and too fast for just the one person. The prizes up for raffle are a $750 gift card to police softball big sponsor, Bud's Gun Shop. The other ones are a 2021 Blue Line Helmer softball bat, then a $250 gift card Visa, and also another prize we'll have is the an American wooden flag. You can get a Blue Line or just a regular American flag. And the last prize is a Code 3 tumbler. Again, 100 tickets being sold. I've sold 40. Some of my civilian friends have kicked in. Some of my law enforcement buddies, same thing. I'm getting some good support. It's got a little stale right now, but maybe this will jam it up and get it rolling again. Thanks to everybody. I know you guys all support my other raffles, my bat raffles and such like that. Again, y'all take care. Be safe out there.
Now, I think that's really cool. And like I said, I mean, that's a serious effort on Dan's part to be able to put this thing together and to promote it. And we're hoping to be able to get him some more ticket sales. I know I signed up for mine. I'm going to tell my buddy that's here with me, Chad, about it so he can sign up too. But I think that's really cool, man. And to his point, when it comes to the game getting faster and all, I mean, you know, I think that's a cool thing because it just shows that, you know, it's more competitive. People are taking it more seriously, and it's just not enough eyes out there for what it is that the level of competition is at and what we want when it comes to umpires. And so I you know, tournament director can't do it all on their own. And I think it's really cool to have somebody like Dan to be able to put that effort forth to be able to provide something that's going to benefit us all. And there's no reason for him to do anything like that other than the love of who we are and what we do and his appreciation for it.
Well, surprise, Dan's doing something, you know, that's going to benefit our circuit. You know what I mean? He's been doing that for years now. And hopefully this drums up a little more interest and he can sell those tickets out. I think one other thing, Dan, if you're listening, I think one other thing that could drum up some interest, add one more prize to the list of prizes. And I think that last prize should be having a beer with Dan Potter at the Big League Dreams in Vegas come October. You put that on there, I mean, you're going to sell out. So,
or hey, I'll give you a little gift certificate for a call that you can redeem at a game, but kind of do it on the side. But you know, you can redeem it with me, and I'll keep that in. That's probably going to get you all those ticket sales. Hey, what's cool though, Joe, is check this out. So Mark Jackson says, Joe's looking sharp. Trini looking retired. Good work, fellas. Hey, I have more time to work out now. Jeff Blair. Okay,
on the Jeff Blair program.
Hey, no, that's just my bicep. Don't let me lift my shirt up. But yeah, I am looking retired. Hey, Mark, check this out. So we had a few people have contacted me here recently about getting together to play golf. And I would love to be able to make something happen in Vegas. I personally have played the Win, and I really enjoyed it. You know, I know it's hard sometimes to be able to make it happen, but I'm telling you, I've got about 6 guys that are saying that they're in for playing in Vegas at the Win. And so
let me guess, Jay Stewart's one of them.
Yes, that's right. And I'm hoping you'll be another one, Joe, because
what, you need some laughs or something?
I was just going to say, it's not that you're just my friend, but you bring up my level of confidence when it comes to especially teeing off. And Dan, I don't know if anyone knows about Joe's game or not, but he's a great person to play with. I mean, and I say play with in golf, and especially on the tee box. So yes, yeah. I think if people have not ever played golf with Joe, here's an example.
Maybe that could be a prize on Dan's raffle. A round of golf with Joe Monahan.
It'll take too long. Did you just see the last clip?
Trini,
to be out there all day.
I have one bad swing. I wasn't paying attention. You guys are screaming in my backswing, and you record that and show it all over every time we talk about golf.
I think it's incredibly awesome. Let's see here. Dan Potter says, sorry, fellas, late to the show. What did I miss?
Dan, what you missed was I think you need to add another prize. It's the 5th prize is have a beer with Dan Potter in Vegas. You need to add that on there.
Yeah, man. And I say give him a little bit of a card that can be redeemed at a game and you'll help them out with a call. That's what I think will sell out. It'll sell this thing out. But with any luck, Dan, we bring some more attention to the raffle, and ultimately you're going to have another guy join here that is a buddy of mine, Chad, that's here, and he's going to join up. So I appreciate you, Dan, making that effort. We all do. Thank you very much. Hey, Joe, so we've got our player spotlight, Michael J. Faul, but you did an interview like we do typically with the player spotlight of the team and the coach of the player spotlight. So who do you got?
So I hooked up with Brandon West this past weekend. He's the coach of South Florida Lawmen, and he just so happens to be putting on the tournament coming up this weekend in West Palm, the John Scollo Memorial. But yeah, he hooked up. He took the time to meet with me, answer some questions, and talk about maybe the history of his team and everything. So
cool. Well, we'll make this happen. We got guys coming in from the team here in Mansfield, so I'm going to say hi to them. But let's roll it.
Yep.
Oh, wait, whoa, Joe, hold on real quick.
What's up?
So if y'all don't know who Brandon West is, we've talked about him before. He's like a superhero. Come here. This is my buddy Cody Wayne. All right. They just got here. Look at this
Cody, what's happening, man?
Look at this jawline. Joe says,
hey, is he wearing shoes?
See this jaw. Look this way. See that jaw? Now watch this. Let's show a picture.
What up, Jay?
What's up, man? Hey, so let's see this picture. If you don't know who Brandon West is, we talk about him being like a superhero type action figure or something. Let's show a picture, Joe, of the guy that you just interviewed, and tell me what you think about this.
That's pretty close, man. We need to dye his hair blonde, but I think that's a pretty close side by side there. I like it.
Dude, I'm telling you, that is Brandon. That's why it reminds me of a superhero, but this might help a little bit more. Let's show this next picture.
There it is.
Now, how does Brandon, I hope you enjoy that, man. But I think it's awesome, and that's who he reminds me of. And I see him, and I get a little nervous, man.
Hey, you get nervous around Brandon, man. Come on.
Well, hey, let's roll the clip.
I want to start off by introducing our next guest. He's got 19 years in law enforcement. He's currently the lieutenant with the Palm Beach Sheriff's Office. He has 19 years in police softball. He is the 2021 Police Softball World Series champion. He's the coach/player of South Florida Lawmen. He is Brandon West, and I want to thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
We're going to get into a little bit about you, a little bit about your team, and a little bit about your tournament. So let's start off with maybe if you could tell us, how you got introduced into the police softball circuit.
Funny story. You'll hear this story at in my tournament too during opening ceremonies, and you'll understand why once you hear it. But 19 years ago, when I was playing a little civilian ball, and Mike Kletsky, who used to run this team, called me in the police academy and asked me if I would come for a tryout. So I met him at O'Keefe Park, the place we used to play this tournament at, and hit some balls, took some balls in the outfield, and the following weekend I was in Sterling Heights playing with Scollo and Kletsky and all the old crew guys, South Florida guys. And needless to say, it was an adventure from a guy making $29 grand a year to flying first class and having limos pick up at the airport. It was a little different feel. We didn't do very well, but we had a good time.
So the first class and the limos, is that because of the sponsors that you guys had?
Oh yeah, that was a sponsor. Yeah.
You got started back when you were 26, you said, and introduced, and your first tournament was up in Sterling Heights. Did you have any baseball background in high school, college, leading up to your police softball?
Yeah, so I'm from Lucedale, Mississippi. I played at George County High and committed to Mississippi State in my 11th grade year. I had Tommy John surgery. I was a pitcher, and I wound up going to South Alabama, University of South Alabama, Mobile. Pitched there 3 years and fizzled out from there as a pitcher. And then got into a health club industry really, and moved down to South Florida, and that's where the police academy came into play.
When you first came into the circuit, was that the South Florida Lawmen? That team? Okay.
Yeah.
So you've been with South Florida Lawmen the entire 19 years you've been in police softball?
The whole time, yeah.
Awesome. So is there any history of the team that you could share with us? How things maybe have changed over the years?
When we first started, like I said, it was fully sponsored. We got to travel a ton. It was more about having a good time with the guys, and that's what it was. I mean, it was more about having a fun time, and we were competitive, but it was more about the good time at that point. At some point, 6 to 8 years maybe in, we merged with that team. I think Scollo and Kletsky and Mike, they worked something out. because I think we got tired of not being competitive. And then we went on a pretty big run in the major division. I think we finished in Vegas, I don't know, top 3, top 5 a couple times. But we were always competitive. It was always in majors. 2011, 2012 in Vegas, we kind of all broke up. Kleski, Scollo, Brassy, Alan Westfall. That crew kind of just broke up. Mike decided to go his way, and I went with Mike. We kind of fell down a realm. It was more about being with your friends and being that kind of team. I think Mike just kind of, with the kids and stuff, kind of wanted to bow out of it and didn't want to do it anymore. And I was kind of organizing at that point anyway, probably about 2014, 2015. I was doing all the legwork anyway on it. And then when Scollo passed, it was basically on me. We revamped it and just started working our way back up and decided to get younger. I said, I had that crossroad where either you get younger and try to be competitive, or I was to that point where I was just going to walk away because it wasn't fun anymore just to go out and get your brains beaten every weekend.
I definitely noticed a big difference in a shift in your team, the way, like the youth, I guess you could say, over the last couple of years. Definitely a noticeable change. You mentioned the win up in Virginia Beach, and obviously, you had a huge win last year. Or one of those, would you say one of those would be your most memorable experience on the circuit, or you got another one that maybe tops those?
I think to get to Vegas and win Vegas, whether it's silver, gold, mid-major, look, I think if we're not all there, you don't have Vegas. It helps having the 70 teams, and
yep.
I think Vegas winning that, that'll always be the milestone. Especially knowing where we were at 3 years ago. I mean, we wouldn't have competed at silver 3 years ago.
Yep.
To be able to go undefeated in Vegas and gold with 38 to 40 teams.
Yeah, that's impressive, man, to not lose a game, make that run, undefeated to a World Series win. After that, obviously you guys are going to be moving up now and to another division. You got what kind of your expectations going into this 22 season?
I think we're to the point now where youth-wise we can compete athletically with a lot of these teams. The 19 guys on this roster, man, honestly, they're super easy. They're a lot of fun. They're super respectful of what me and Dave and Carlos try to do for the team, and it's been a blast.
Speaking of 19, that's the number I'm bringing to West Palm Beach for your tournament. We're coming. Hopefully, we have a good showing. We're looking forward to it. It's going to be a huge tournament, as far as talent-wise goes. I looked at the weather. The weather looks about perfect. I mean, upper 70s, low 80s. I mean, slight chance of rain, but, I mean, that's every year,
That's Florida.
Yeah, that's Florida. Maybe you want to fill everyone in on the format and, what they can expect this coming up weekend.
Well, one thing I changed in the bracket, I did this last year, and your team's like my team, and I – being the host team, I can make these rules, but in the round robin, I'm allowing unlimited runners, anybody on the roster for the first 3 games, and having 19, 20 guys, it gives the guys a chance to play a little bit, and because they're not going to play every game. So I changed that up. Other than that, I go back to you USSSA rules, and very similar to Tampa, 6 homers and out. Everything's pretty much the same. We'll start at 8 a.m. and go to 11 p.m. both nights if we have to. I did a Friday and Saturday this year, which I tried to do last year, and I think it works out better. You can tell me. I think the flights are probably better to get on Wednesday and Thursday, maybe a little cheaper.
The flights are super cheap. We're flying 3 guys round trip to West Palm for the same price as 1 guy to Myrtle Beach. So, I mean, it's those days work out really well as far as travel goes. So everyone gets 3 pool play games at your tournament, and then we go into the double limb. So are you're planning on getting at least 1 double limb game in for everybody on Friday night?
Yeah. We'll try to get everything in, at least 1 on Friday.
So a couple of things that are kind of unique to your tournament. You're going to have a couple food trucks there throughout the tournament on Friday and Saturday. I think it's Chick-fil-A and an Italian food truck or something like that.
Then Rita's icy thing. It's a lot less work and time for me, and then people can get what they want. And
yep, I think it's a great idea. I wish I could get food trucks at the complex in St. Louis. I thought about that. The problem is the one in St. Louis won't allow that. So everyone always wants to know what the bats are. I'm sure Jay-Z's going to be at your tournament. I'm sure he's called you, texted you, what bats we're using, what balls we're using. He always wants to know.
For the last couple of years where we've kind of worked together with some of these East Coast, like Tampa, us, Myrtle, New York, kind of worked in unison with some of these things. And we just bring the bats from Tampa now. We just bring the Junos with Eastons. the Onyx, and it's the same ball that we're all kind of using too. But it's the same equipment. The same thing we use in Tampa, we use here. It's the same thing. We're taking a Myrtle.
Well, good deal. Looking forward to that tournament, obviously, and looking forward to the competition and looking for that entire weekend. One last thing before we let you go. I played in Tampa last year with Louisville Metro's team. I was playing with Witt and those guys. I believe Michael Faul was playing with Louisville at the time. And then you kind of got wind that, he's going to be a police officer. He was a police officer in Florida and no longer going to be playing with Louisville. And I guess you had picked him up. You saw him play and you're like, I want that guy on my team. You know him better than I do. The reason I'm bringing this up, Trini's going to be doing a player spotlight with him. And I didn't know if you had anything that you'd like to say about him and, the experience that you've had with him on your team thus far.
I'll tell you about the COVID clown, how he introduced him to me. Yeah, he told me in Tampa last year, and I think he knew at that time. At Tampa last year is when I really had in my mind that I was done with this. I had to get more committable players. And Justin actually came over to me and said, hey, I got a guy here that's moving to Tampa, and he's a good player. He's a great guy, and I think he'll fit well on your team. And I actually went over and watched him bat one time, and I think he hit a home run. And I met him. I think I met him after the tournament or during the tournament. Great personality. Does anything you ask him to do. I mean, he's just a ball of energy. He really is. And he'll do anything I ask him. Play in position you ask him to play. He's fitting great. The guys love him. He's just like he was always part of the team. A good asset to the team and hits it well and plays good defense. And he runs like he's got a piano on his back. But other than that,
kind of like me.
That's the only downfall. He runs like he's carrying a bunch of luggage. But other than that, he's good.
Well, Brandon, I appreciate you taking your time. You're at your office there. I appreciate you taking your time today, joining me, and going over your team and your upcoming tournament and
training.
Showing off the shirt. I think I got that shirt on under here too. Looking forward to the tournament and looking forward to seeing you here in a few days. Thanks again for joining us.
I appreciate that, man. Hold on real quick. Let's see. All right, there we go. Hey, man, great interview, Joe.
Thanks, bud.
It's just supposed to show that if you get a great guest, it makes the interviewer look great.
I was thinking that it had something to do with not only the guests, but Deanna's editing. I think she did an awesome job editing and actually made me look halfway decent. Because if you didn't edit it, it'd have been questionable. Then. You definitely wouldn't have said good job.
Well, I thought it was a great job. So that's
thanks,
awesome,
Deanna.
She's giving you a thumbs up right now. Hey, I'll tell you, I want to go to that tournament. So I would really like to put that on next year's list. I think that'd be awesome. I think this year we had something going on. I can't remember what it was, but I definitely want to put that on.
I think isn't it Mansfield tournament that you have going on this year?
Yeah, but it's not just that. I also just drove in last night. I got home at 9 and then we turned around and left at 12 today. So I know I had prior engagements and I just couldn't fly out. And there was quite a few guys that couldn't fly out either.
Yeah.
But I definitely want to do that next year. So Brandon, please, send me that info. And so that way I can put it on the list, earlier
Thanks,
in the year. I think that's awesome, man. Let's think. Let's see. And Brandon, I will just call. I will call it that. Brandon, I know you said he hit a home run. I went to go watch him bat one time. He hit a home run. Then I met him, and he had a great personality. Whatever, dude. Everything that followed after his first at bat that he hit a home run is when you said he's on the team. That's all I'm saying. There was nothing about personality, although he has a great personality, and he's a ball of energy, and he's a great person, as you'll see in the interview coming up. But I'm pretty sure it was when you saw him hit the home run at his first at bat that you're like, all right, he's good. I just can't give it to him. I gotta throw some filtering questions, some qualifying questions, but he's in. So that was a great interview, though.
Thanks, man.
All right, man. So let's roll right into it. That we got Michael J. Faul. Let's roll that player spotlight, man. This is going to be a great interview. So happy to be able to be here today with Michael, as I know him, Michael J. Faul. Is that correct?
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
Man. When we first talked, man, I got a great feeling from you. And so, having you on the show. It truly is a pleasure for me. So thanks for joining us, man.
The first time we met, I kind of fanboyed out to Joe. I was like, hey, there's Trini over there. So
Yeah.
Joe was like, come here, come meet him. And I was like, I don't know. And then I got to meet you, and you were as nice as can be, and I really appreciate that.
Having somebody express to myself and Joe about what we do with this podcast and being able to hear how it's a positive thing for people and how it really is impactful is extremely important to me. So again, thank you, man. Well, hey, we're going to throw his banner up here. Michael, and like I said, I know him on Facebook as Michael J. Faul. He's been in law enforcement for 3 years. He plays with the South Florida Lawmen. He's been 2 years in the police softball circuit. The cool part about this, which you're going to touch on later, we might just hit it now, 2019 World Series runner-up with Louisville Metro. And then we had that weird year in COVID, and then came back in 2021 and was the World Series champion with the South Florida Lawmen. So that's a great thing to be able to experience something like that in such a short amount of time.
It was awesome, man. No better feeling than being out there on the field when, you're away from work and get that little break from all the bad in the world and get to go out and play ball.
Yeah, 100%. And it's cool to be able to hear somebody that shares pretty much word for word how I feel about being a part of the law enforcement softball community. So you were born and raised in Louisville. Is that correct?
Yeah. Louisville, yep.
Yeah, so we have Louisville. What is, from somebody born and raised, how do we pronounce it?
I say Louisville, but when I get around people here in Florida, they're like, Louisville, where's that? And I say Louisville. And they're like, oh, Louisville. And I'm like, yeah, I'm from Louisville. But some people say Louisville. There's all sorts of pronouncements for where I'm from.
I was always curious about that, but it wasn't until I hung out with some boys from Louisville who pronounced it like that. I was like, oh, hell, that's the way it's pronounced. You grew up there. Tell us a little bit about your upbringing. I mean, were you involved in sports? Were you, what was your thing coming up?
My dad was a police officer, and he never took me shooting, anything like that. The first time I shot a gun was actually in the Louisville Police Academy. I just played baseball my whole life growing up. Some of my hobbies was collecting baseball cards. I love to get autographs. My dad would always take me to spring training. But my whole upbringing was pretty much around baseball itself.
Yeah, so much so that your dad built you batting cages and a basketball court, right? When you were young?
Yeah. He took the time out of his day to throw balls to me every night. And, it was just an amazing upbringing. My dad sacrificed a lot to, play the game with me. And I want to do that for my kids one day as well.
Awesome, man. What an important part of that legacy to be able to pass something on like that. In all of that, playing outdoors, being an outdoors kind of kid, you had an incident that took place when you were 8 years old, man. That's pretty challenging time for you. Explain what happened.
One day, me and one of my neighbors, his name was Kanan Lewis, we were playing tennis ball in his backyard, and one of us hit the ball over the fence. He told me to go get the ball while he went inside and got us some water. When I went to reach for the ball, the dog bit me in the arm. You kind of see right there. Brought me to the fence, and then it took my entire face off. It was hard growing up in school with the big scar on your face, but after a while, I kind of got used to it, and the older I got, the more I liked it.
That's a tough experience as a kid, especially you got to go to school, you got this big old scar, and all, but, in the end, you're able to turn it around and being able to walk away from it and not be too scarred,
right?
Pun intended, in life. Yeah. So man, I'm glad that it didn't mess with your eye, because that's really close. You end up messing that eye up. Not that you couldn't do what you do today, but definitely would be different. So you ended up going to high school, right? So what high school did you go to, and is that where you kind of started to excel maybe in baseball?
So I went to Bullitt East High School. It's in Mount Washington, Kentucky, on the outskirts of Louisville. I started playing high school ball in the 7th grade. I played on the freshman team till my freshman year. Then I played junior varsity and then varsity my sophomore year. I got a full scholarship in Florida to junior college, Pasco Hernando State College, where I played 2 years. And I did pretty good there. I won the Student Athlete of the Year award in 2016. and I hit around 350. So it's pretty good year for college. I learned a lot playing sports growing up. You have to have a lot of structure. You got to keep your nose clean and make good grades.
That's a big accomplishment, man. And like I said before, I mean, you know, I've always given credit to those who have the ability to be able to excel in a particular sport and then be able to be recognized enough to get a college scholarship, whether it be partial, full. For me, it's always been that emphasis on the grades along with being able to have that ability, because it takes discipline in both arenas, and then you're juggling your personal life, you know. So it's all about the discipline. I mean, it's just so much that goes into be a student athlete, and for you to be able to excel like that, man, kudos to you, man. Congratulations on that. How old are you?
27. My birthday was yesterday.
All right, man.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to you, buddy.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Did you do anything special? Did y'all go anywhere?
I got a little surprise when I got home. My girlfriend, she made like a picnic thing outside my home and said happy birthday.
Right.
I was real surprised. I didn't have an inkling that was going to happen, so it was pretty cool.
Man, y'all got some Love is Blind action going on there. A little picnic outside, and I've been getting into Love is Blind here lately, and
nice.
That's some Love is Blind action there. How did it come around that you ended up getting into law enforcement?
Got done with baseball, and I had to figure something out. You know, you have to support a family if that's what you want down the road. And I did security and coached ball for a year, and then I decided that I'd either go the law enforcement route or the firefighting route. I ended up doing law enforcement. My uncle, he was in law enforcement. My father, it was the obvious choice for me.
So I understand that your dad was retired when you entered the academy, but then your uncle was still active.
Yeah,
right? When,
he's still working today. Yep.
All right, and both of them with Louisville, correct? Or Louisville?
Yes. So my dad, he did a couple years in Plant City, and then he went to Louisville and did 18. And then my uncle, he's done the full, 20 and retired and came back.
So retired and came back, huh? I hear you, because I have that itch. I really wish I could get back into it. But then I come to a casino and I'm like, I'm good. I got time off and I don't have to worry about going back to work. So I like this life. So ultimately, what department did you start with? And then where did you end up going to?
So I started with Louisville March 13th, 2019. Two of the guys that are on Louisville L&I think they're called now, L&I Express. That's on that team. Rock Beasley and Justin Witt ran my academy. And then Devin Luckett, who was also an L&I, he was our class vice president. Justin Witt, he's now a sergeant in there. So
yes, we found that out. That's his recruiting secret.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a whole nother story how, I got on the team. So Devin Luckett, who will later be doing the player spotlight, he told Justin Witt that, I was a good softball player, and we're like 16 weeks in the academy or something like that. And he's never seen me play softball before. So I was like, how are you going to vouch for me? I don't play softball, but we make it to the Cincinnati tournament, and I think I hit around, 650, 700, and they're like, you're on the team.
That you started with Louisville, but you transitioned since Louisville. Where'd you head to next?
February of 2021, I left to go to Pinellas County Sheriff's Office. And the reason why I decided to make that transition is because I knew my parents wanted to retire next to a beach. I wanted to be next to my parents wherever I lived. So instead of wasting another year or two with a department that I know I'm not going to be with long term, I decided to go ahead and just make the move down to Pinellas County and get my tenure started there so that I could retire earlier. Because I want to be retired around 55 years old. I don't want to be working. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, man. That's awesome that you're there to be able to, make that transition and willing to uproot and be able to go to where your parents are going to end up being, man. That's badass. Before we head to police softball, I think it's important to note that it wasn't until after I met you that I of course, I friended you on Facebook and on. Then I saw a video, and I think that this video is very impactful. We're gonna play that video. us about the details with the video we just saw, which is the one that I saw on Facebook after speaking to you for the first time?
As a second week officer, you don't know much. You just know the basics of how to stay alive and officer safety. We spend about 2.5, 3 hours on scene. During this time, he's on top of the parking garage. He's pacing back and forth. But when he'd turn his back to me, I felt like I could grab him down. But the sergeant who was on scene at the time told me that it was too dangerous. He took a seat with his back facing me. And then the sergeant kind of gave me a look like, if you can, do it. My buddy behind me, he patted me on my shoulder. And then we went in, and thankfully we were able to pull him to safety and, get him in cuffs to prevent him from harming himself further and get him in the patrol car to get him evaluated.
I had a similar situation when we were on SWAT. I wasn't the one that ended up going out and grabbing him. It's about 5 or 6 of us. I understand that tense situation with something like that, and then ultimately making that decisive move to go out and do something like that. You had a couple of life-saving awards, am I right?
Nominations, yeah.
Okay, so a couple of life-saving nominations. That was one incident that took place, but then you've also had another incident that was kind of similar.
4 or 5 months later, there's a place in Louisville called Southern High School. We had a guy who called in the dispatch stating that he was on top of Southern High School. He was going to end his life. And the reason why he was telling dispatch that was he didn't want people to think that his suicide was a murder. In order for me to get to him, I climbed 2 barbed wire fences and then climbed with all of my gear on, probably about 3 or 4 stories high. I just talked to him in a calm manner. We started talking about what's going on, his family. And as we're talking, I'm just kind of inching, a little bit closer. And I grabbed him by the belt and just kind of pulled him in. And he ended up being very thankful. And that guy, I know he got his life back on track through communications with pretty cool.
Yeah, man. Very cool. And you got an Exceptional Service Award. What was that situation?
We get a call that comes out that the dad's intoxicated. The child's the one that's calling. I think the child's maybe 8 years old. And he's saying his dad's going to kill him and his 6-year-old brother, as well as the dog, and kill himself. There's a window next to the door, and I see a grown man, who I assume is the father, walk by, and he has a bulletproof vest on. So I relay on the radio. The father appears to have a bulletproof vest on. And if he has a bulletproof vest on, he's not preparing for a fist fight. So, my wheels are turning. Then dispatch gets right on the radio and states that they overhear him on the 911 phone call stating that he's willing to release the kids out, which is huge because it turns from a hostage situation to just, him in there, where he could only, harm himself. The door opens, just far enough for the kids to get out. We set a perimeter. At this point, I'm in prone position with my rifle in the perimeter just in case it comes out and, start shooting or whatnot. But there's probably a good 15 of us on scene by this point with the perimeter set. The SWAT vehicle starts driving by. They ask, if, we'll get in to help out because they need more people in. There ended up being about 5 of us inside the SWAT vehicle. As we approached the house, we do something called helling them out. So we get on the intercom, lights and sirens, and we ask them to come out. At this point in time, I hear something that sounds like glass bottles breaking on the windshield. I hear the driver say, "Shots fired, radio, shots fired." So he's shooting at our windshield, but it's bulletproof, thankfully. So he's shooting through his window at our windshield. So we back out. Eventually, our hostage negotiators talk to him and end up getting him to surrender so that we can proceed with charges.
You mentioned earlier about card collecting.
I don't know if I mentioned this to you before, but I also like getting autographs. So this is, King Griffin Jr., Willie Mays.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Johnny Bench. But I don't only do baseball. So like I got Kentucky player Anthony Davis here, Kentucky player Devin Booker here. I like vintage, new, anything.
Well, you got that stuff protected really well.
You
Have
know,
you ever tallied them up? Have you ever found out how many there are?
No, I don't even know if I count that high. I'm from
Holy
Kentucky.
smokes. So what are your prize possessions? What are your prize cards? Because we just had a card collector on the show not too long ago.
My prize possessions would have to probably be the vintage cards that I was showing you.
Who started you in this? Who started you in this
My
card collection?
father. A lot of the vintage cards came from my dad. His collection starts in 1953, and it goes pretty much all the way to about the 90s.
It's really cool that you got the opportunity to be able to receive those things and to appreciate that effort that he went into it, knowing one day he was going to be sharing that with you. That's cool.
Yeah.
And what's something that you'd like to be able to finish off your segment of the player spotlight?
I would just, tell everybody remember why you started. It's not about stats or anything like that. It's to help people. I'm very appreciative of the softball circuit. It's been the best thing that could happen to me personally. Getting out there and knowing the guys, having a drink or two with the guys, shooting the bull. It's the best getaway that I could have asked for. Shout out to Justin Witt, Devin Luckett, Brandon West. I appreciate everybody who's helped me along the way. I don't care if I ever play another at bat as long as I'm out there with the guys. I'm having a good time and I'm enjoying it.
You're a good guy, Michael. I appreciate having you, man. Thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you.
That's what I'm talking about, Joe. What do you think about that boy?
That was a great interview, man.
I think it's
and I've met him a few times and over the last couple of years and I obviously didn't get into in-depth conversations with him like that, but he seems like a great guy, and it's cool hearing some of the stories that he's telling in his in his young career so far.
Dude, in a short amount of time, not only as a law enforcement officer has he been involved in so many critical incidents. I say so many because, sometimes you can go 20 years and not be involved in anything, quite that intense.
Mm-hmm.
It's intense in its own way, but, I think it's cool with body cams now that they can document it. I kind of wish to a degree that they had body cams when I started. It'd be really cool to be able to share that with your kids, your wife, somebody maybe who doesn't understand what we do and the intricacies involved with it. And it was just really cool to be able to see that after I met him and what he'd been involved in, because he didn't talk about that and he didn't come off as a boastful person or anything like that. And so it was really cool to be able to see in such a short amount of time, what he had experienced, not only in his law enforcement career, but also with his softball career. That's pretty cool to be able to have those types of experiences in such a short amount of time. But I will say that, this guy's kind of an old soul to me. He's in it for the right reasons, and he comes across in a way that I feel very comfortable that, he's going to be a true contributor to what we are trying to do with this circuit. And I think he's going to help a lot of people in his career. And I was just really happy to interview him. So I think that was a great interview, but because of the content that he brought, that was cool. Joe, we had Hagla Spring. I'm not sure who this is because a lot of people, they have their names, kind of like this. They're asking when your golf tournament is. And let me just say this real quick, Deanna. Joe doesn't play in his own golf tournament. And it's kind of good because there's a clip of Joe. I don't know if anyone's ever seen it, but there's a clip of Joe that playing golf. So that's why he runs a tournament and doesn't play in it. But Joe, when is your tournament that you put on, and what do you put it on for?
Well, the tournament's put on in September. I don't remember the exact date off the top of my head. It's been set, but it'll be one of the Fridays in September, and we raise money for Missouri Lawmen. So it's always a good time, rain or shine. I think you were out there when it was raining, weren't you?
Yes, I'll tell you what. In all seriousness, yes. In all seriousness, that tournament is at a beautiful course. What's the name of the course?
Missouri Bluffs.
Dude, I'm telling you, that's a beautiful course. Oh, Chad, my buddy who's here right now, he played in that tournament with me, and man, that was beautiful. I mean, I thought that something that was really unique about the course that you chose, Joe, was a majority of the holes that you play. And it's almost like you have the course to yourself because there's so many beautiful trees, and it breaks up the different fairways. So, you know, if somebody goes there and misses, they don't have to be embarrassed because nobody's going to see them. And then if you hit something that's off to that's the only thing I would say, Joe, is that if you're not that great on your drives, you probably want to bring some extra golf balls because
couple dozen golf balls.
Yeah, because it is unforgiving, but beautiful, beautiful course. And it rained. And one of the things I thought was also cool, Joe, about your tournament was that they had fans just about on every green. I mean, they dry those freaking greens off pretty quickly, and I thought that was really cool. I hadn't seen that before.
It's a great course, and like you said, all the fairways are private, so you're not looking over at the next fairway. You can't see them. Everything's, trees on both sides. It's a cool layout for sure.
Yeah, and then it supports you guys, and you guys go out and you support so many different tournaments, and that's the only way they can make it happen. We have sponsors, but when you do what you do, first and foremost for your tournament, that supports a charity. But then you have the golf tournament that supports your team. And, when somebody puts something out that supports their team, it's not just to get brand new uniforms. It's to be able to go out and to be able to attend other people's tournaments. So kudos to you, man. And, we're there every year. And I would invite people from across the circuit to show up to Joe's golf tournament. It's really cool. What's the name of the tournament, Joe?
It's just the annual Missouri Lawmen Golf Tournament. I mean, it's simple as that.
I thought it was the annual Joe Monahan Golf Tournament.
This will be the 12th year. No, Trini, that's not it. No, this will be the 12th year I put it on, and it sells out every year for the most part. We had that one year with COVID that there were some issues, but other than that, it'll fill up. There'll be 36 foursomes, and it'll be a good time again.
Yeah. So
and also, if you do come out again, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna feed you some alcohol so that you swing and miss, and I can take a video of it, and then I give it to Deanna, and she can play that shit on while we're doing this show.
Well, a little insight on that: Deanna works for me, so I control the clips, I control the edits.
Well, me and Deanna will have a talk when you're not around.
But hey, I want to get Mark Jackson. I want to get these dudes to come out that are in the circuit. Jay Stewart. I want to get them to come out and to be able to join it. Because what would be cool, Joe, is to be able to have maybe let's just say 8 to 10 teams, and they're from the circuit, and they come out and experience that. Man, that'd be cool because I'm a big proponent of outside of softball and outside of tournaments to do something that allows us to see a different side of us. And at a tournament, I believe that would happen. So. Anyway, what are the dates one more time, Joe?
The dates for the Show Me Classic is August 6th and 7th, and the golf tournament is in September. If you give me 1 second, I'll tell you the exact date.
Hey, Deanna, will you do me a favor? Let's create a thumbnail. And, Joe, if you'll send me some sort of just something, man, whether it's an image of the course, maybe past
Friday, September 16th.
Okay. So if you would be able to,
I'm sure
send
you'll
us,
be. I'm sure you'll be traveling just like you're going to be traveling during the Show Me Classic, and you're not going to be in town. I mean, I get it. You got important things to do, Mr. Traveling Man.
Boo. I'm in Costa Rica, dude. It was pre-planned a year ago. My bad. But
That's
my
important.
team will be there. Now, why
That-
don't you highlight that? That
that's-
although the coach and the sponsors are going to be there, the team's still going to be there.
It's a Trini-less San Antonio law. Yep. Who's gonna be running the show? Who you handing the reins over to?
Chad Norman's going
Uh-oh.
to be running it along with Moses. So
Chad
Mo
and
ain't gonna take anyone's shit, and Chad's gonna have the scorebook. So,
All right.
So yeah, man. Hey, I'll tell you what. Dan Potter said, "I wish that some of the public could see things like that interview, so they could understand that law enforcement personnel are people too." And it's true, and that's a big part of what it is that we're hoping to do with this podcast, because we do have people outside of law enforcement that tune in, and so I think that's an important aspect, Dan. So thanks for mentioning that. Hey, Joe. So that's a wrap. Appreciate you joining us again, man. Thank you guys for joining us with the Police Softball Podcast. And on behalf of myself, Deanna, Joe, appreciate you tuning in. And don't forget that, man, we got your 6.